If you go back to the very first video in all of this, one of the things I talk about is that fear is one of the things that keeps people from reaching out for counseling. I talked to a guy last week, and he said the biggest thing that kept me from reaching out is not knowing what was going to happen. I can relate to that. It's fear of the unknown, right? So let me tell you how it works when you schedule an appointment with me, okay? One of the biggest complaints I hear is that when people reach out to a counselor, nobody ever calls them back or emails them back or anything. And it's so stupid to me. That's such a basic common courtesy, just like return people's call, even if you can't see them, So if you call me or email me, I'm going to get back to you, okay? The easiest way of getting in with me is to jump on my website. One of my goals in starting my private practice was to be excellent. And excellent means removing as many barriers as I could for people that want to come see me for counseling. So you can literally have an appointment scheduled with me within 90 seconds. Jump on my website, click schedule an appointment. It'll let you pick your own date and time. You put your email address and phone number in, boom. You've got an appointment with me. Not too bad, huh? When I get that appointment request, I will confirm it. And then I'm going to send you some paperwork and stuff. And to be honest, I hate the paperwork part of this stuff, but we live in such a lawsuit happy country. We got to have some stuff to cover our bases. A big part of it is protecting you. It's so that you know what you're getting into. And it's things like, what does this cost? What is the difference between, counseling and therapy and all that kind of stuff? I answer some of those questions. There's privacy stuff. There's the HIPAA stuff. And you e-sign all of that on my website. And you can do that pretty quickly. And then we get together and we meet. One of the things that I like to do is I send out this questionnaire, and it asks questions like, why are you reaching out for counseling? Have you seen a counselor before? Did you like that experience or not? Is there anything big, like traumatic, that is in your life that would be important for me to know? And I also put on there, like, if you don't want to answer these questions, you literally don't have to answer these questions. What it does is it helps me and you jump right in when you first get there, so that I'm not asking you things like, so where do you work? And do you like your job? Well, you already answered some of those basic questions. So if you answer those, it really helps me. And I think it gets your juices flowing too about some of the things in your life that you might want to talk about. So, and you walk into my office, and there's a little waiting area, and you sit down, and I'm going to come out and introduce myself and say, come on in. And we'll chit chat a little bit, and I'll ask you some questions the very first time. And really, it's a get to know you thing. Like it's beginning a relationship. And you can talk the entire time if you want to. If you don't want to talk, I'll ask you some questions to help me better clarify how I can help you. We're going to maybe set some goals, which I'm really good at helping people set goals. Any good therapist is, because if we're not shooting for a goal, what are we actually doing here? That's how counseling starts. It's not scary. I'm not going to make you talk about anything you don't want to talk about. If you say, you know what, I'm really not comfortable sharing that stuff yet, that's cool. We won't talk about that stuff right now. I may take some notes, I may not. So that's kind of how counseling starts out. It's not as big and bad as scary. I'll tell you, one of the biggest compliments somebody pays me is when they're getting up to leave after their first session, and they say, I was terrified coming in here, and this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I love when people say that, because they have it built up in their mind as something that's way bigger than what it really is. It's really not that bad. It's not that scary. And most people say, even though we didn't fix everything on the first visit, most people say, oh my gosh, I feel so much better leaving than when I came in. And that's because for the first time in a long time, you've probably said it out loud to another human being who didn't judge you or yell at you or scream at you, and they nodded their head and they kind of looked at you and shrugged and said, you know what, I'm really glad you're here, and what you're saying makes sense. How nice would that be for somebody to just understand what you're going through, even though we hadn't fixed it yet? So that's kind of what a starting out therapy session is. It shouldn't be hard. If it's incredibly hard, you probably need to find another therapist, because they're putting too many barriers up between you trying to get the help that you need. So another question answered. Keep asking good questions, and I'll talk to you guys on the next one.